Alrighty, g'day guys, welcome to a Legion TD placement guide. So, I initially started making it in a different way to this, but what I'm going to do is literally go through all the common builds, right, from tier 1 to tier 6, and just show you the standard placement as well as talk about any common mixes that you might see or how your placement might change depending on what you're doing, alright? So, this is obviously going to be a fair bit of content overall. Not sure how I'm going to split it up at the moment, but probably won't just do like one 12-hour video because that seems like a bit of a stretch and also a bit of a pain for my processor. Alright, so let's get into it. Number 1 is Peewee. Alright, level 1. You're going to want 4 of these guys and 1 upgraded. Okay, so this with just this setup here, 200 value, yes it can make you go 3-0, but then you'd need the 6 income for 2. The thing is this can leak level 1 to no send, and does too often to risk. And the thing is, if you do leak level 1 to no send, you're kind of screwed, because then you can't get the second veteran on 2, right? So, no good. We start like this. So our level 1 placement is like this. If we wanted to be better on level 1 for whatever reason, even though we still leak hard to warriors, what you do is something like this, and force the veteran to tank. But I can tell you that I've never done this, and I think it just makes you worse on other levels, so wouldn't do it. General rule with placement, straight in a line, gives you best damage share. Along the wall, gives you best like damage focus, right, as in your units will hit the same creeps, and the creeps will clog more, which can, you know, mimic tankiness. So this is the level 1 setup, 225 value. Rips really hard to warrior. You can 1-0 sell these two, get this as the way to like cover warrior, but it feels really bad. I've personally never done it. I think there's very few situations where it's correct. Anyway, moving on. Level 2, upgrade this veteran, right? You can upgrade the others, I guess, but I don't think there's any reason not to upgrade this one here. But yeah, that's just how it is. Level 3. This does really badly versus send on 2 as well, it's worth saying, so it's just a bit risky. Level 3, you need this veteran here, okay? And so we're saying 2 veterans, 2 Peewees like doesn't hold 3. If they send on 2, if you do something like this, even though the rifle's like not actually good synergy, thing is that's fine for, like that's going to be fine for 3, then this would be fine for 4, and then this on 5. You could do something like that and make it work and feel okay with it, right? If they send on 2, but otherwise I would probably just lock into getting the 3rd veteran, right? This will hold level 4. It's worth noting if you do have something like infantry, veteran one-shots 1 to 3, but on 4 it only one-shots when it gets its plus 10 damage, and even then it's not a guaranteed one-shot, so it has a chance to one-shot when it procs its ability. So if you do want to like be really safe or anything, then if you have got like a small damage unit behind that will finish off the creeps, that can help you, but it is not necessary. Level 5, bang, another veteran. Veterans are really strong on 5 because they are quite tanky and they 2-hit the level quite evenly. So they're actually quite nice on level 5. Then for level 6 you will need to add something. So I've added a Harpy and Held, but Harpy's honestly not bad on 6 because it has a lot of time for its poison damage to work. So like this would still leak, maybe something like this would hold, but you're looking at like 680, 700-ish value for level 6, right? Level 7, you're really not a holder with these units, so I'm not going to talk about any way that you might adjust into a hold, even though it is possible, I suppose, but I'm not going to go over it. Then level 8, the veterans are pretty good, but you do want to fall out of veteran by level 8, right? So in general, by the way, with these, we're going to stop on level 8 for most of these YOLOs, or for most of these units, because in most of them that you kind of want to stop building them on level 8. So you got your 4 veterans set up for 5, you've got your add, we'll just say you've got that, I don't know, and you probably did fine on 6, maybe leaked a couple of grapes. Huh? And coming into level 8, you've got however much gold, so you know, your best option realistically is probably going to be do something like that, because the veterans, they're pretty tanky, right? They 3-shot level 8, but they 2-shot with their ability, so if you have the like little supporting damage at the back, once again, that's quite nice. Obviously, if you get another veteran, like it's pretty good on 8, but the issue is the medium armor normal damage will really not do you any favors on level 9, right? So you want to get out of veteran if you can at this point with 4 of them. So pros of veteran YOLO, it's pretty good on 5 and it's pretty good on 8. The cons are it's really weak early, the push is unimpressive, and it's weak on 9 dead value after, so in general it's not a great YOLO. But the placement at least is really simple, it's just all in one straight line to try and get your optimal damage share, right? And share on the veterans evenly. There's really no reason to place any other way than this. Alright, so that's veteran, and moving on to the next one. Alrighty, next on the list of tier 1 YOLOs is going to be Bone Warrior, so Skeletor. This is going to look really similar to veteran, so level 1, like this. Level 2, you're going to get another Skeletor. Worth noting that this is pretty good versus warriors, and you can just add like a Bone Warrior and hold level 2 to no send. Anyway, but your level 2 it's going to look like this, level 3 it's going to look like this, and here's the thing, if you got a bit of extra gold and you want to cover the send, then you can do this, right? 525. Keeping in mind that you need a early send, or double like early king up to reach this, otherwise you will not be able to, because 4 gold for level 3 gets you 520, so you actually need 9 gold for level 3. Right, so if you did 1 regen on level 1 and another regen during level 2, you will be able to reach this 5 Skeletor. So 5 Skeletor is a super good hold on level 3. If you can't reach it, then you're going to be looking to either just do something really silly like this, and well, probably like this, and then push another wisp, right? And this will do okay. Anyway, level 4, you've either got your 1, 2, 3, or you've got your 5th Skeletor. In general, level 5, you're going to want something that looks like this, right? For level 5 and 6, you're going to want a little bit of extra value. Ideally, you can just have like 5 Skeletors, right, or 6 Skeletors rather. You're going to want them all in a line is kind of ideal, but if you got the Bone Warriors from level 3, then you will have them behind, right? And the reason for that is the ability here. Right, they get attack speed for Bone Warriors and Skeletors when they're alive, so you don't want the Bone Warriors to just die super quickly, right? You want them to stay at the back and share a little bit. Anyway, say that this... So ideally you have these Skeletors just in a line like this, maybe you stack 2 up on the wall, because at some point like you get too far out and then they actually stop sharing damage. This is like your build for 5. Leak's probably a little bit on 6, but you can just add like a couple of Bone Warriors or whatever, or just cop the leak on 6, or sometimes I'm sure you hold 6. Maybe you just hold 6 like this, I'm not super certain actually. Anyway, this unit is good on 8, so you're looking, you know, you're not too sad about building more of these on 8, but same story as veteran, really bad on 9, so you want to transition out of them. In general, I would very rarely play this unit, but it is playable, so it's like, you know, it's a nice one to have up your sleeve, right? It's one of those things, maybe it's the difference between like a solid player and a good player, right? Solid player would see the Skeletor and go like, yeah, it's maybe a reroll. Good player would see the Skeletor with the Dark Mage potential. Maybe they have something that's worthwhile, like Dark Priest, and think, oh yeah, I can make this work, right? So yeah, that's Skeletor for you. In general, level 1, pretty good, level 2, pretty good, level 3, really strong if you get 5 Skeletors, pretty dicey if you don't. I mean, you can overbuild level 4 and be fine. It's fine level 5. Honestly, this unit is not that bad. The main issue is like dead value level 6, and it's not very good versus Sens, because it's very squishy, right? It relies quite a bit on its regen here, and damage share, but if you have like a Dark Troll, right? Dark Troll with its, 28 to 34 normal damage against the 485 medium armor, like it really doesn't enjoy Sens, right? So would never overbuild with this unit, or would very, very, very rarely overbuild to 7 with this unit. But you know, it's a nice little YOLO to have in the pocket. Once again, with the majority of the like melee YOLOs or melee setups, you're going to have just straight line, right? To get the best damage share. And then obviously the only reason I say that this Skeletor you might want it here instead of here is if we play level 5. There'll be a Dark Troll somewhere, but it doesn't matter. If we have a look, once we start to build too many in one line, depending where the creeps spawn, right? Oh, I get the Dark Troll, yay. So if we have a look, see this one's pretty lazy out on this side. The creeps don't really like finding the one on the end a lot of the time. And and so if you have it here, it's going to help the Skeletor on the wall. This doesn't always happen, but I mean, it represents my point pretty nicely, I think. Anyways, you can see 630 value is really doing totally fine versus Dark Troll here. Yeah. I think that shows my point pretty nicely with the placement there. So, placement guide. Once you start getting to like your 6th melee unit in a line early game, 6 is probably one too many. With ranged units, it's generally fine, because with ranged units, and we'll get into this later, with other units, you tend to play a Warclog. But yeah, with the melee units, the one that's like 5 tends to behave, and like number 6 off the wall tends to not behave so much. So I would really start placing number 6 like here, maybe here, or like here, sort of thing, right? So yeah, that's food for thought there. But yeah, that would be Skeletor. A nice little YOLO to be able to play, relatively simple, but really without any big redeeming factors, except for the fact that it's also Dark Mage sometimes, right? Maybe there's a way to play this with using the Dark Mage as well. Wouldn't surprise me if like one Skeletor gets replaced with a Dark Mage on 5 and that's just better. But honestly, haven't played around with it enough to know. Probably with the new Dark Mage buff, it's actually way better to go for Skeletor 1 Dark Mage, and that's probably actually like really strong. And I'm literally just thinking about that now. So how about we test that actually, just for interest's sake, now that I thought about it. I want to try like 4 Skeletors in that case. And then like 1... How about we do it this way? So obviously we're knocking down the value a lot, down to from 630 to 555. Let's see how we do. So who gets the buff? This one here got the buff. It's attacking pretty fast. Dark Mage right behind is nice because Dark Mage has the same health regen, so it's deceptively tanky and it shares damage not too badly. Okay, 555 was not enough, but you know, there's something here. Maybe if you start to mix it, if you have like a ranged tier 2, if like instead of these we go like this, just like as an example. I don't know. The thing about Skeletor though, because of the regen and because of the like undead army ability, which gives it attack speed the more Skeletors and Bone Warriors there are, you kind of want to build, like, if you're going to use them, you kind of feel incentivized to build more skeletons and bone warriors, so I'm not sure what the answer there is, but it's interesting. Yeah, still not quite there. Okay, still not quite there. I don't know. I think there's an answer here, but we're not going to stress too much. Anyway, that is Skeletor for you. There's probably a way to make the Dark Mage work, but, you know, you can't just play it the simple way, right? With just Skeletor and then transition out of it on 8. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and on to the next one. Alrighty, next on the list, guys, is the Engineer, as we accidentally start level 6 with 40 value. Cool. So there are 3 starts with Engineers. There is the safe start, which actually looks like that, placement wise. So the safe start, 200 value, looks like this. I think this is the best positioning you can put this one here, but I prefer it like this. So that's start number 1, which is the safe start with 3-0. Start number 2, which is the I'm probably going to mix something early, like maybe Night Saber. Looks like this, right? This can actually leak level 1 to no send. Literally like an hour and a half ago I leaked level 1 to no send with this. Doesn't happen often, but this is not the best. Anyway, the start, but it does give you like 4-0 through on. The start that's pretty nice is this start right here. This start right here. No. So this is 150 value, so it's 4-0 with just 1 upgraded Engineer, right? But this will actually do better versus Warriors than the double Engineer setup. So yeah, those are your 3 options. Might want to note that something basically in common with all of them was that we're building up instead of out. Okay, the last 2 YOLOs we obviously started building out because they were melee units and we wanted to split the damage among our units, right? And try and share damage on them if we can. For the Engineers here, we don't want to share damage, right? We want our unupgraded ones to tank and our upgraded ones to stay alive as long as possible. This is because the upgraded ones have really high DPS thanks to the splash, but this quite squishy, and these 20 gold ones are comparatively have crap DPS and are still squishy. So this is our first introduction basically to the wall clock, right? So what you're looking to do is, we'll play level 1 and show that out. Show that. Why don't we get, for interest's sake, what we're trying to do is clog the creeps up on the wall here to get them not only like clogged at the back and being lazy, but to really try and... Oh, there are no warriors? Did I not send warrior? Ah, yeah, okay, whatever. No warriors then. But what we're trying to do is clog the creeps up on the wall. You can see there were quite a few creeps up on the wall as I looked away trying to find the warriors. But basically what will happen is a bunch of creeps will clog up on the wall. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to do that one more time. This time there should be 2 warriors on my line. Yep, perfect, 2 warriors. And watching what happens to the creeps on the wall. So they all target this creep and they will run in here like so. And these creeps at the back, they start to get blocked. They have a bit of a hard time getting around. That one was a ninja and got through, which sucks. Right, this is obviously not a warrior holding build, but you can see how that wall clog works. Right? Anyway, level 2. That's all we need to do. We're safe like this. If we really feel like we need to overbuild level 2, then we can do an extra one of these, oops, or an extra one of these. Like, those are both okay options for sure, but all you really need is this 200 value double engineer 3 tier 1. Okay, level 3, risky build, safe build, pussy build. Alright, so 270 is slightly risky, like 270 if you get a send you're fucked, 320 or maybe even 340 if you get Ascend, you're probably okay. 370 if you get Ascend, you're pretty safe. Did not mean to start the level, whatever. There's no point showing you 340 Engineer on 2, because that's a wash. Okay, anyway, level 3, so it's 1, 2, 3 for 270, and this is small. Upgrade this for 320, that's like a bit safer. 320 or maybe 340. We'll do like okay versus Send. And then if you're really pussy, you go for the 370, but I very rarely go more than 320 value with Engineer, because I think it's just not really worth it. Okay, moving on to level 4. Level 4 is obviously big RNG, everyone knows that, there's no point saying otherwise. But with pure Engineer, what you'll have is 440 value, maybe 460 if you reach it, right? If you need to deny a scout for whatever reason, like for example you absolutely fucking suck on 5, then you go 490, right? And 490 is really safe. But 440 is a pretty common build, but it also leaks pretty regularly, right? Which is why people don't love this unit, well, which is one of many reasons people don't love this unit. So yeah, this is your level 4 build. Level 5, obviously there's really not much point building. I would almost always just save my gold, assuming I'm not mixing, to try and get the maximum amount of push in. Ideally, you are 7-3 on level 5. If you're 7-3 on level 5, you've probably had a pretty fine game. So, level 6, we upgrade this Engineer, and then one more in front for 510. We can afford it. We go 530, right? Maybe we go 5, like if we can afford it, we go 560, right? We go 510 with this Engineer here, 530 with this one here, and you can see we're still using our Walk Log, right? We're not building out because we don't really care about sharing damage. What we want is as many creeps as possible clogged up in one spot, so our AoE damage is efficient, right? And so that we take as little damage as possible, right? Because more creeps blocked at the back means less creeps doing damage. We don't need even damage share because our units are not tanky enough to be happy with like any damage, right? That's how that works. Right, this is our level 6 build. Let's say we got 530. This is obviously requires a farm at some point, but that's like honestly not the biggest issue. So level 8, generally we want a mutant that's one of the ones that's somewhat in front. Juice it, add whatever if you can, something like Dark Mage for example, if you reroll into it is super nice. You just like add what you can. Another Engineer at the back is pretty nice. It's obviously like very RNG, but you make sure you juice it. Level 10, level 9 pardon, unless you're looking to hold level 10, which is actually doable with Mutant. It's not the worst unit level 10, but it's pretty rare. And you're never doing it with pure Mutant, so I won't talk about that too much, or any more than I already have. But for level 9, you're just going to want to, like assuming you're not staying low for 10, or for even 12, what you're going to want to do is just push from, or like +1 on level 8, right? You're going to want to push one more time, if you can afford it, which is generally you can, unless you have to sell like Engineers to reach the Mutant on 8, in which case it's really sad for you anyway. But generally you're going to want to push once during level 8, and then build up on 9 to hold. If you reach enough gold to push twice and are happy with leaking on 9, you can do that. Make sure you juice on 9 again, unless you are like super overvalued, right? Mutant is really bad on 9 when it's not juiced, right? Really bad on 9 when it's not juiced, and on 8 too kind of, but really bad without the juice. So don't get too cocky thinking, oh yeah, I have like 1090 value of Mutant Engineer on level 9, I can get away without juicing, because you can't, and it really sucks and it makes you feel really bad. So strongly recommend continuing with the juicing. So Engineer, push as hard as you can early, and really abuse that walk log, right? Because the walk log with 8 actual players with different pings and packets and the game having to communicate between all of them, that walk log is what's going to make your lane work, right? It will not work if you build engineers out, it will work if you build engineers on the wall. This one, you can start to build out for level 8 a little bit if you need to, because at some point, like, having them here is just going to start being less efficient on 17 when they are mutants and they're kind of tanky and they kind of need more space to actually attack. So, unlike later levels, you can start to build out slightly if you want, but early on, really keep it to the 2 lines, okay, and that's going to make the difference. Okay, so that's the mutant, the engineer guide. Placement wise, it's just that walk log. Alrighty, on to the next one. Alrighty guys, welcome to the Fangtooth YOLO guide. Yeah, no, we're really going in depth here. It's worth saying, just quickly, and I should say this, that I will make these placement guides, or these guides for all the units that are playable, not for the units that are crap. Like, you're not getting an anti-YOLO guide, for example, because don't do that. Find something better. Anyway, 1 Fangtooth, and you can do 1 tier 1 or 2 tier 1s for level 1, or if you're going to mix it with a Fangtooth start, in which case your mixed unit is probably a better start anyway. You can do this 2nd tier 1, but that will require you to have 1 income for level 2, so a lot of the time I just wouldn't bother. Anyway, this is your level 1 setup. Level 2 setup, you spend the 140 gold on the Fangtooth. Get the right one, don't get Defiler. Anyway, 300 value here. So that feels pretty good. And actually I lied, you can have that 2nd tier 1 and it doesn't cost you anything. So 2 Fangtooths on 2. It's really frustrating because it's 2 upgrades. Actually, wait, can I? Does that work? Yeah, it works, nice. So 3 Fangtooths on 3 with 3-0. You can add like 2 ones if you want. Pretty sure this holds level 4. Not 100% certain, but pretty sure this holds level 4. But we're just going to check it really quickly. I'm sure there's like some fringe case where it can leak, but yeah, okay, they're too short. This holds level 4 easily. And by easily, I mean my focus is absolutely abhorrent here, so. Am I holding anyway with this, like, 1x1 focus? Yeah, okay. Outside of debug, I think you're very, very rarely going to leak. But hey, you've seen there's a fringe case where it can leak, so, you know, maybe add a little bit if you want. Here we are going to want 1 more Fangtooth. This is not a safe hold on level 5. So, in fact, like, this unit is kind of similar to Ghoul, except it's worse on 6, and in general will have less stats, but it's a little bit better, like, early on. But yeah, as you can see, level 5, 600 value Fangtooth. It's not bad. Like, if this one here stays alive, not that one, this one, if that managed to stay alive, I would have held. I think I might be holding anyway, or I'm leaking a couple of creeps. So as you can see, not like super impressive, but doable. Level 6, we'll watch that quickly as well, because I'm not 100% sure. I am assuming this doesn't hold level 6. I knew about generally leaking a couple of creeps level 5 at focus dependent, but this unit, like a lot of melee units, is probably going to do a little bit better on 6 than it does on 5. But, you know, 6 is a bit of a harder level, so we'll see. Looks pretty bad at the moment. Okay, it's got veteran vibes where you'll need to add a bit for 6 then. So, setup for level 1, for level 2 is 2 Fangtooths. Level 3, you're going to want that 3rd Fangtooth. I don't know exactly how much you can get away with if they send on level 2. Not going to really test that here, but I'm sure you could just do like 1 Swamp Runner and a couple of tier 1s or something, figure it out. Anyway, this is your level 3, maybe without the tier 1. Level 5 is like this plus, or just play this and it's probably okay. Level 5 is this, like maybe plus a small add if you have it. Then level 6 is like you're going to want to add something, like if I had a bottom feeder on level 6, I would be pretty happy to add said bottom feeder, for example, right? Unit really sucks on 8, so you want to try and get out of this unit as early as you can. It is not like Skeletor or Veteran where you want to build them on 8, or where you're happy to have them for 8, because while they may be bad 9, they're good 8. No, this unit is bad 8. It's actually better on 9 than it is on 8, but it's pretty bad on both levels, so try and get out of this unit really early. Once again, melee unit, somewhat tanky with the ability, and 660 HP. So you build it in a line and you hope for good damage share. If you get good damage share, then you'll get good results. If you don't get good damage share, get a bit unlucky, one gets sniped. The reason this is looking worse in debug is because the creeps move better, so they tend to flank around the ends and kill like this one and this one more efficiently than they normally would, where they get a bit clogged. Or if you got 8 players, the creeps tend to clog a bit like here, sort of in the middle, and are a bit stupid about finding a way around the flank. So this guy and this guy last longer, and you probably hold 5 more often with 600, right? But yeah, in general, it's a pretty shit unit, but it's playable. It's nice to know how to play it because sometimes you have to, and yeah, it's a unit that you can use. So yep, moving on to the next one. Not many good things to say about this. Alrighty guys, next on the list is the Rider YOLO guide. So we have 245 value with 2 riders and 1 cult on level 1, so this should obviously go really well. It's a strong unit, this one. Has more damage for the first 5 attacks, and doesn't like to suicide. It behaves really nicely and stays at the back. Doesn't run in front of melee units with its 250 range. Yeah, it behaves exactly as it should. Right, nice. Good job, riders. So, for level 2 here, we pick up 1 more rider, and with 2-0, we can afford 360 value. Yeah, right? So, we'll play the level 2 out, should go really nicely on level 2. Rider's a pretty good unit on 1 and 2, because it's got those 1 hits going on. So, pew pew pew. Beautiful. See? Rider looking pretty strong here. So for this next level, what we're going to do is grab another rider, grab a couple of cults in the back. We're going to want to be 2-0. This unit's not the best on 3. So we want damage share early with these riders. Because they're short ranged, we can't really wall clog properly because they'll run forwards anyway. So we treat them like they're melee units because honestly they behave like they're fucking melee units, right? They just run in front and that's what they do. Okay, we've got our rider YOLO here looking pretty okay on 3. Obviously a bit overbuilt, or a bit more than you love to have with the YOLO. So, level 4 with 505 value. Let's see how this goes. Honestly, I think we're going to leak super hard here. So I think we might need another rider, but we'll see. Not quite able to one-shot 4 with the initiative attacks, which is not ideal. But let's see, maybe riders will do it. No, I was wrong. Riders making it happen here. Have I just invented something? Alright, we'll grab another rider on level 5. $605 value, we'll see how we go here. Looks like we actually have a pretty high chance to one-shot with our initiative attack. That's quite solid actually. That's really not so bad. We go into 2 hits now. Not bad at all. These things have got a lot of damage. Alright, level 6 we grab 1 more rider, so we've got 6 riders and a cult on level 6. 705, that's not too abnormal for a YOLO, honestly. 705 value on 6. It's not amazing, but these are riders. Okay, level 6 looking like a bit of a weak level here. Okay, level 6 is a problem for rider. Alright, that's fine. We can solve that problem. You know what I want to know? I want to know if this works. If this holds 5, it's like unironically not even that bad. It's like actually not that bad. It's close. In online, probably holds level 5. So yeah, for level 8, I have no idea how much value we'll need, but let's just try out our 1000 value-ish of riders. It'll be slightly over, but that's allowed, I think. Let's go riders. These are beautiful units. I feel like they look good in red. I don't know if you guys agree or not. I feel like red is the color of the rider. Okay, we've used up our initiative attacks. Looks like the little bit of range and the fast move speed is benefiting them here because they're able to do a lot of damage. Not quite able to hold though. Probably need one more rider for level 8. And then we'll try this for level 9. 1150 value. I mean, this is a very reachable amount of value on level 9 with 7.4, maybe 7.5 if you've had a good game. Kind of hard to have a good game with rider YOLO, but you know. Not a good showing for the riders on level 9. Pretty sure we'd do better with 1150 value of just aqua. But obviously, right, I mean, there's a reason for this, right? And that reason is the level 10 here. There is a reason why the riders have struggled on level 6, 8 and 9. And that reason is the level 10. You get the payoff on level 10. As for some reason these bosses give me no gold. That is quite concerning. Anyway, so this is the rider YOLO, guys. Make sure you keep this one in your head. It's a really good one to know. These are a crank of a unit. Oh, alright, look, I'll be completely candid. I was going through the tier 1s, discounting the ones that I think are not playable, and I was like, haha, I bet it'll be funny if I make a rider YOLO guide. And then it was really not as bad as I thought. Like, seriously not as bad as I thought it would be, so I almost want to try and make this work now. But that's something I'll do another time. Yeah. Just watching the rider YOLO, hopefully it's just a bit of entertainment, and on to the next one. Alrighty, g'day guys, on to the next 2-1 unit. We have the Orc Warrior / Blood Orc Warrior / Wolverine. I fucking hate this unit. I have a lot of hatred for it, but it was solved a long time ago, so it's very, very simple to play. Level 1, you can do two things. You can do decently versus warriors, and sometimes mid with 2 Blood Orc Warriors and 2 tier 1s, or you can kick these out and start 3-0. Up to you. I would say the safe way to play is 2-0, because if you start 3-0 you have a really hard time versus send on 3. So we're going to tell you the safe way, but you can start 3-0 and then just build up from there. So this is your level 1. Level 2, if either they sent level 1 or that for whatever reason you're certain they are not sending level 2, 2 Blood Orc Warriors with nothing else, right? 2 Blood Orc Warriors alone holds level 2 because they one-shot. If there is a Furb, they do not one-shot. If you risk this and you get a Furb, you will leak the entire wave and feel like an absolute punter. So, safe build. 3rd Blood Orc Warrior on level 2. 4th one and 5th one on level 5. On level 3, pardon, right? 5 Blood Orc Warriors on level 3. This will do well versus and you won't have any problem. Level 4, this will hold. Level 5, upgrade a Wolverine. No one knows which Wolverine is best to do. It's like you kind of... I like this one, and I think a lot of people like this one because you want it to take damage because it gets more attack speed as it gets lower HP, and that's really important. You don't want it to die because it's really not that tanky. So this is generally the accepted placement for level 5, but you can do whichever Wolverine you want, and it will just be down to RNG. I do not recommend doing this Wolverine, because a lot of the time one of two things will happen. Either the creeps will spawn tracking towards the right, and then this will not take much damage at all, and then you won't get the attack speed buff, and then it won't have enough damage to actually work, right? Or, number 2, the creeps track to the left, it gets hit, it gets surrounded quite quickly, gets hit by a lot of creeps, it dies really fast. Not so good. So I would say this one is a mistake, all of the others down to RNG. Anyway, this is your level 5 setup. This also holds level 6 most of the time. Sometimes you can leak a bit, but also holds level 6 most of the time. Wolverine is bad on level 8, do not push more than 7-3. If you're playing solo Wolverine, unless the game is ridiculously fat, you'll leak really, really hard. But you're probably hoping to have, if not 4 Wolverine with 1100 value, you're probably hoping to have something like maybe something like this, right? As a build. And then in general, if you're playing this unit, you're doing something like 7-4 for level 10 and building up more Wolverines. It's not such a bad unit on level 9. So that's the Wolverine guide. Straight lines, share damage, and then this is, it's interesting, right, with Wolverine, because with most melee units, if you're trying to build for 10, you actually do start placing like I have here, and get in the second line, right? Because if you keep spreading out, then there's just more chance that you'll hit 3 different bosses, which is bad with every unit except maybe Wolverine, because of the one-shot. So it's actually an interesting thing with Wolverine, continuing to build in a straight line and then doing the fucking Nike kick up here, right? The just do it. Up this way, that's probably got a lot of upside to it. If you're hitting different bosses, it's like totally fine. If you one-shot different bosses, that's better than one-shotting the same boss twice, which is probably possible-ish. So yeah, it's definitely worth thinking about that. But yeah, that's the Wolverine like placement guide. It's really, really simple. Melee unit, straight line, easy does it. There's no way you're holding with this unit. Very much one-dimensional, quite shit. I hate it, but it's nice to know how to play it. Right, so on to the next one. Okay, this next one is an interesting one. It is the Revenant. What I'm going to do, I think at the end of the tier 1 section, I'm going to give you some common mixes that we see. Right, so Revenant YOLO, right? Generally, pretty accepted way to do it. It's 200 value on level 1. You can do it 2 ways, right? You can go 3-0 and really hope they don't send 3, and kind of hope they don't send 1. You don't do that badly on 1. No, I take that back. You do really, really badly on 1. Never mind. You can do this for level 1, and it's okay. Don't do 2 Revenants. 2 Revenants leaks level 1 to no send. Do it like I've shown you here. And you can, if you want, you can move this Acolyte from there to here, and it's like fine. And you can maybe do something like that if you want. And that's fine if you want, but you know. Either way. So 2 ways to do it. 200 value like this with 3-0, and then you pray to God that they don't send 3 or 1, but you're okay if they send on 2. But we'll show you the safer way, which is going to be getting this second Revenant and knocking down a couple of these. So 240 value level 1, and you're staying 2-0 for 3 unless they send on 2. And if they send on 2, you are not pushing more than 3-0 if you're not mixing Revenant. 4-0 Revenant leaks level 3. Unless you go full on in the Acolytes, and even then I'm not sure. So you're going to be looking at 360 value on level 2. And this is going to do really nicely. Revenant's got on 2. Level 3, you're going to be hoping for 520 value. If you can't quite reach the 520 value because you didn't send yet or whatever, you just need 4 gold to do it. If you're not quite able to get that for whatever reason, then maybe you have to ditch this Revenant, get more tier 1s, blah blah blah. But that's kind of your problem later, right? So 520 value for level 3. This will still not hold most sends, but it will clear and you won't feel super bad about a level 3 send. Anyway, this obviously holds level 4. You can like delete this and replace it with this and hold level 4. You can probably just like delete that tier 1 as well. Anyway, Revenant is good on level 4, but let's assume you've got the 520 set up or you've got the 440 set up. That holds level 4 as well, it's fine. For level 5, Revenant, a little bit dicey, but what we're going to look at is 620 to 640 value. This will normally do okay on level 5. So if you're noticing something similar positioning wise to another unit, it would be the Engineer positioning. The reason it is simple is because while Revenant does not have the AoE that really likes the wall clog, it's squishy as hell. It's got 380 HP and light armor for 100 gold. So you use your Acolytes, which don't do very much damage but have 100 HP, right? 380 HP, 100 gold. 100 HP, 20 gold. It's almost like these are really way more efficient HP wise than Revenants, because they are, so you use the Acolytes as tanks, right? You try and wall clog up on level 5 and just delay the creeps as long as possible. What you want is the Hawks to like kind of clog here in like a little concave, kill the Acolytes, and go to like these 2 Revenants, kill them, then these 2, and then a lot of the time you have like these 2 Revenants versus maybe like 8 creeps, and you're generally able to hold. So that is the Revenant placement for level 5 and the Revenant YOLO for level 5. I would say that playing Revenant YOLO feels really bad, but we'll get into why. And well, I suppose we're getting into the first part of why right now. Well, we had the first part, which is it sucks level 3. The second part, and you need to build your 640 value for 5. So that's 2 parts why it sucks. The next part why it sucks, because this doesn't hold level 6. Right? It just doesn't. But you kind of need to just like prage and maybe build even a little bit more if you can afford it. And just hope that you do okay with 720 Revenant, right? So now here's the interesting thing with Revenant, right? Let's just say you're 7-3, as I'll push the wisp through. Let's say you're 7-3 with 720 value. You've had definitely a decent game, right? Like, we can't say you've had a bad game if you're 7-3 with Revenant, 720 value. Pretty much no matter how much value of Revenants you have for level 8, which I will demonstrate now. It's okay to start building them out now, by the way. Same as Engineer, right? After level 6, you can start building them out a bit more. 1400 Revenant. This is actually like enough to hold, so we'll take that back a little bit. And we'll delete this one too, 1200 Revenant. So we've got 1200 value of pure Revenant on level 8. Let's see how we go. Keeping in mind that 1200 value with 7-3 is like pretty unrealistic, particularly for a unit that does not have a good early game, right? Like, you're not overbuilding with just Revenant because it's really bad. But as you can see, like 1200 value is just able to hold with pretty good focus, and like this really is just, you can see all these Revenants are low HP. So if you have like 1100 value, I mean we can try that right now, right? you've got 1100 value with this unit that tends to have a bad time on 1, 3, 5, and 6, and 7. If you manage to reach 1100 value, then like, obviously that's really good. And you've had a good game, and you'll be set up to carry 15. But yeah, this is what 1100 value Revenant looks like. As you can see, like 1200 was able to hold, but 1100 it leaks, what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It leaks 12 creeps, which is ridiculous, right? And it's not okay. So here's the interesting thing about Revenant. You've got your You got your 720 value. What you tend to do here is click this button. If you can once, that's good. Even if you can twice, right? You just try and get 7.5 as early as you can. Then what you do is you do something like this. 940 value on level 9. We'll check that out. Basically, the point I'm making is, if you've just got Revenant and not really anything to mix it with, firstly, try not to play that because it's really not very good. But secondly, try and leverage pushing early over building more Revenants for 8, because building more Revenants for 8 is not going to make you hold because Revenants suck 8. But you have like a little bit, almost Disciple Syndrome, I guess we can call it, where I have 940 value on level 9, and as you can see, I'm doing pretty good, right? I'm going to leak a few creeps, but I'm doing pretty good. So if I have 1k value, I'm going to hold. If I have better focus, or if this is online, then there's a pretty good chance I just hold, right? So try and leverage that push and then build back up for 9. So we're saying Revenant YOLO, not good without a mix. With a mix, a couple of different units can be playable, still not very good. This meta 14 is a lot scarier than it used to be. So you're often happier to have generalist holders rather than like specific holders, if that makes sense. We'll just go into this quickly now, I guess. So a generalist holder would be something like Hades, Hydra, PD, Talk with Backline, like Ship with Backline, or just like, you know, generally like strong units that are good on multiple levels, right? You really like these generalist holders because on this map, 13 is scary, 14 is scary, 15 is scary, but it's a lot easier to skip. So we see more 16 and more 17 than we used to, right? You know, in older maps, it was like, well, 14 is not that scary most of the time. If people are like on value and you have heals, it's kind of hard to die 14, right? In just the average game, there were not that very many games ending 14. There were some, but not that many. And because so many games that ended 15, like the vast majority, it was pretty okay to just have these specific 15 holders, right? Your Revenant lane would be super useless on every level, except that on 15 you just like go mid with 2900 value with Revenant Egg Sack if your name is 1007, right? So verse 2600 send. So yeah, Revenant used to be better, now it's worse because you're happier to have these generalist holders rather than the specialists, right? Doesn't mean specialists are directly bad, but it definitely makes them like less beneficial. Or it narrows the range of scenarios where you're happy to have this specialist holder instead of wishing they were just like 7/7 instead, right? Because they're still not doing anything on 14. So yeah, would avoid playing this unit, but if you do decide to play it, then a couple of mixes that are good are like Exac and Helicopter. If you have good units for 8, then you can try and mix those in as well to try and do like relatively well on 8 and then leverage the strength of Revenant on 9 with whatever mix you have that probably has medium armor, which won't do you that many favors. And yeah, you can make yourself useful in 15, but I haven't played Revenant YOLO in a long time because I don't think it's worthy of playing in the vast majority of circumstances. But once again, it is nice to know how to play these things because sometimes you have to, and it is better to have an understanding of how to do it than not. But things to remember: wall clog, big yes. Sucks on lots of levels, big yes. Do not push more than 3-0 for level 3 unless you have a mix such as Exarch or Corrupted Ent where you can get away with 4-0. Otherwise 4-0 Revenant will just leak to no send on 3 and you will look like a fucking muppet. When Revenant YOLO was more common, like before the Darkness race came out, for example, Revenant YOLO was more common. You would see a lot of people on 1200 that were maybe not quite as good at the game as they thought they were, fucking up. There would be a send on 2, they would push 4-0 for 3, and they would leak like 10 creeps and be super useless, like 5-1 leaking 5 and 6, and it's just horrible. So try not to do that, basically. If you do play this unit, just remember that if I do not have a mix that I can leverage for level 3, the only two for me that spring to mind where I would actually have any number of Revenants on 3 would be Corrupted Ent and Exarch. Do not push 4-0, stay 3-0. Alrighty, that is Revenant. It's okay, but it's really hard to make it work, and moving on to the next one. Alrighty, and for the last one, we have the Militia. So I actually had to relearn how to do this since the unit is not the same as it was when I made my previous Militia YOLO guide, which I was a bit annoyed at having to do low-key, but anyway, it's done now. So, level 1, for Peasants, 2-0 start, 250 value. This will do well versus Warriors. Normally it'll hold, not always. For the Militias, I like having a Peasant in front to stop the fast Warrior, right? And getting the insta-stun. Anyway, level 1, nice and simple. By the way, it's worth saying that this unit isn't great, and if you have mixes with it, it can make it nicer. There's also a way to overbuild, which I will show you later. But first the YOLO. Level 1, level 2, we click this button. Now for level 3, what you can do is like grab an axe. Actually, hang on. Let's just actually say for level 2, you'll actually upgrade this Militia. Just make that a bit quicker. Level 2, upgrade this Militia because that makes you a little bit more flexible on level 3. It is possible to push 3-0 and click these two buttons, but I don't like it. I would say on level 3, your best bet is to just stay 2-0, get another Militia, get an axe here, alright? This will make you do pretty well versus Blood Orc. We can show it. Militia is like super good on 2, by the way. Since it 1 hits, which is really, really strong. Anyway, got our Blood Orc coming in. You can see we've got our one-shot axe dude who's gonna finish off some of the creeps. Like, we're not great versus Blood Orc here. In fact, we're relatively bad, but you do okay with the axe. You do super terrible without the axe. As you can see, even with 2-0, you're not the best. Obviously, this is a debug Blood Orc. I actually think I forgot to put spawn all on. Bear with me, we will try it basically how it should look. That's more like how it should be. Cool. So this will give you a better idea of what it's going to look like, rather than just like the super aggro creeps and Blood Orc on the line. As you can see, still not particularly good, right? Militia on 3 is not a very good unit. Which is why I would say we generally want to be staying 2-0 to make sure we don't get super fucked. But yeah, you hope for no level 3 if you're playing this unit, but you know, still playable of course. And online you'll do a little bit better than that most of the time. But it's really important to have this axe in front, and we'll show you why. Level 4, this holds really, really easily. Then level 5, all we have to do is 2 spears on the outside. And now you're going to see why we place like we place. So just watch these spears and watch this axe. Watch what they do before they attack. Axe doesn't move, but both of the spears move up, right? That's the reason the spears are behind the axe. so they're going to share damage. If we put the spears in the same line as the axe, the spears will move in front and there won't be any damage share. The spears will die like well before the axe and the axe won't share any damage. You can see with a beautiful damage share, we end up with our different ranged units in a straight line, okay? And that's our placement, so that's like getting some different range damage share there, which is really, really important. Level 6, I don't know how much value you need, like straight up, the golems on 6 are fucking deadly. It's really hard to test level 6 in debug. To give you some context, 650 aqua on level 6 in debug regularly leaks. And I played it once in a little game, and fucking Moa sent 6. Straight 6, which was honestly just a dick move on his part, so I didn't really get to test that there. But if you've, like assuming you're pushing, with this you're going to be on 15 food here, right? Because this is 9, 8 food of militias, and then 1 food of wisp is 9, so 6 more food is 15. So I'd say you probably, like maybe you go a second axe, maybe you go armor of some variant, right? And like try not to do the farm upgrade. Because the good thing about this unit, right, is if we demonstrate, well, there's no point, right? But you can push 7-4 with this unit. If you push 7-4 before level 8, and we'll just do like this, right? Get 2 more militias with axes, 905 value on level 8. We can actually do a bit less if we want, and just do it like this, 795. Probably go one of these, 845. 845 value is like pretty doable with 7-4, right? If you've had a fine game. And this is going to be 845 value militia level 8 in debug, right? In debug meaning the creeps are a little more aggressive than they often are. But you make sure that the axes go in front of the spears for the most part so that they share some damage early on. You can see that as long as we get a little bit lucky with the 2 shots, militia having a good chance to 2-shot but not 100% chance, on level 8 we're able to hold with 845 value, right? And this, like the level 5 and the level 8, are why I think this is a playable YOLO, right? 575 value level 5. If you think about it, it's actually 1 more gold more expensive than Aqua YOLO on level 5, right? Because obviously you don't need the farm. Now the difference is you're like 2-0 for level 3 instead of 4-0 for level 3, right? That's a pretty significant difference. But hey, you know, at least you get some solid push in. You're strong on 8. You are bad on 9. It's not Aqua, but like this is pretty playable. But you really got to abuse this placement, okay, with the spears. Just for a super quick demonstration, I guess we may as well, is if you built everything in one line, we'll sell this. You've got your axe militia, which you needed. You've got these 3 militias. You've got spear. So you can see, initially, this is the placement I tried originally, right? When I was like testing this out to see. You can see the spears like to walk up before they attack. And then we've got the melee guy here. And look, like, this is probably unluckier than you'll see a lot of the time, but ugh. So the placement is actually really, really important here, right? And it means you've got to have an idea of what you're going to do for this YOLO before, like pretty early on in the game, right? Because your placement from level 1 matters if you're playing this the YOLO way. If you're playing this the overbuilt way, the placement's like whatever, right? But if you're playing this the YOLO way, then the placement is really, really important, right? It's also worth saying this unit really likes helicopter or flying machine because axe militia will always one-shot level 8 with the helicopter buff. I mean, same thing goes for captain, but captain dies pretty quick, so helicopter or flying machine is preferable. Helicopter is also like a nice upgrade on level 8 that can help you out there. But yeah, this unit's pretty solid. Here's the YOLO variant, and we'll shit you into the holder variant in a second. Cheers. And what we'll do now is we'll go into the more overbuild setup. So it's going to be the same looking setup, but we can do everything in a line if we want. Double militia for 1, same build for 3, for level 2, because this is a really strong build for level 2. Then level 3, we're going to do this, but we're still going to get 1 axe, alright? We're not going to get the hammer. Well, we could get the hammer, but I think it's really not that good. We're going to get 1 axe, right? And then we're just going to grab another peasant. And then we're going to push maybe 3-1. Or we're going to push all our gold from level 3 to be like 5-1. And then we're going to start building. So then for level 5, we've got 200 gold to spend. We'll spend 100 of it on this. 80 gold of it on this. Next level, we've got 225 gold to spend. So we might do something like 1, 2. Because remember, the spears aren't going to be that good on 6. And then next level, we've got about that much gold to spend. And we end up looking something like this. And, you know, maybe we have a tank of some form. Maybe you build just another militia here and give it like a chain vest. Let's say this is like a 3-1, 4-1 sort of build, right? And then we can test that on level 7 versus Furb, Hermit, Dark Troll, Commander. Obviously Blood Orc's its worst send, but I think this is a fair test. So Hermit, Dark Troll, Commander, it's, you know, it's really not a bad send. It's a 500 lumber send on level 7, which is a fair bit. But as you can see, the Spear Militias, they're doing a pretty good job at getting through it. So, you know, sometimes you'll hold here, sometimes you'll leak a little bit. Looks like we're going to leak just sends, which is, you know, not impressive. But it's not terrible, and if this was online, you probably just held there, right? So, you know, it's fine. That's like the general idea. It's worth saying that if you can get away without building the axe on 3, but you want to go for the holder setup, then like that is really, really good. Okay, because we'll play back that exact same send. But we can be in a world where that is not an axe. Instead it's a spear, right? And in that case we had enough gold to get this spear, 1250 value. We have the same wisp, let's pretend, because we pushed earlier because we weren't scared of level 3. And we'll put that same send, so Furb, dark. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can have something like this as a send now, yeah? Pretty much the same setup, but this is the one where we didn't need the axe for level 3 because we weren't scared of a level 3 send for whatever reason. And yeah, it's just gonna be a little bit better, basically, because the axe isn't very good on 7. But if you don't have the axe on 3 and you get a send on 3, then life can be not so good. So you can see the full spear setup definitely doing a lot better. 25 more value, but definitely doing a lot better on 7. So if you can get away without that axe militia and the holder setup, you're definitely going to want to do so. But yeah, that is Militia. It is a playable unit. It is still playable. The reason no one plays it is because it's very dead value and it's not that strong as a hold or a YOLO. You need an early farm. But it's another of those units where if you get a crap first roll and a crap second roll, you are a hell of a lot happier knowing how to play Militia, holder, or YOLO, or whatever, than just like not knowing what to do and being suicide by level 5, right? This is not a suicide YOLO, or it doesn't have to be, right? At the very least you can hold 8 and then decide what to do. But yeah, it's also worth saying I think this unit likes mixes if you're trying to YOLO it. It doesn't like level 6 very much, it doesn't like level 3 very much, so if you have units that can help you on those 2 levels, it can be really useful. Take a unit like the Corrupted Ent, right? Really like nondescript little unit, but that thing is going to help you on 3. It is going to help you on 6. It is not going to screw you over by forcing you to upgrade a farm, because if you're playing Militia, you'll have to upgrade the farm anyway pretty early. So yeah, I Think about that, you know, if you can mix it with these sorts of units, it will help you out early on. Don't have a specific guide for that because I've never tried it, but I think it would. I think you could definitely make the Militia Yellow better with a unit like that. Anyway, that's Militia for you. And yep, that concludes the Tier 1 guides. So make sure you stay tuned, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Really make sure to subscribe, because what I'm thinking is I've got another guide coming, which could be cool, but I'm thinking I might hold that in purgatory until we hit 500 subscribers. We're almost there. We're in 470 something at the time of recording this, I believe. So hit that button if you want the extra guide, and I think it will be a pretty cool one. Yeah, just watching, guys. Catch you in the next one.